And we're live. What's happening, everyone? Nicky Hawkins here, West Ham Fan TV, back once again with Friday Night Pint. We're going to be joining you every Friday night from Locking. I wasn't here last week, boys.
No, you was ill, weren't you?
Dan said it was the most fun he's ever had.
I don't blame you. I've been ill, and I mean, like, really laid up for the last week, man. I had food poisoning. I woke up on last Thursday, like just puking up everywhere, and it's just been a bit. It's been awful for about a week now. And then yesterday I had a good clear, and that was it. I'm back to normal now, so I've got a pint. What we all drinking tonight?
Well, I think we should all raise a toast for VE Day. You know,
all
the heroes that served, and
cheers. Cheers, everyone.
Everything they
to give us a good future. So, yeah, it's such a shame that like we can't really celebrate it properly with all the street parties and things like that. Because I can imagine being it on a bank holiday up London would have been special today. But yeah, look, it's one of them things. Unfortunately, but now we can still celebrate.
Is Graham coming tonight?
No, mate, no.
Nah. No. He can't do 3 weeks in a row.
It's Kate's birthday, and they're having a barbecue, and there's something going on at 8 o'clock down his road. So
I hope they're keeping their distance, Scott, and they're not having a social gathering.
No. It's just 3 of them that live in their household, so it's all above board.
good.
I'll be honest with you. That headline from the Sun yesterday is fucked us.
Oh,
Really?
It's ridiculous, isn't it? Absolutely ridiculous.
Which one?
No headline yesterday, like basically outlining what's going to happen Monday, but they don't know. No one knows until Sunday. And just saying basically, you're going to be allowed out, you're going to be allowed to do this, you're going to be allowed to see your mates and all that. And people jumping the gun. Yep. And I see people out on my street earlier letting their kids go out and play and all of that sort of thing. There was still 646 deaths tonight. Today, still at a peak of a virus, and you know they've sort of started to let people out. I think it's fucking ridiculous, to be honest.
It's stupid because obviously people are going to think like, oh, well, what's a couple of days earlier going to And again, if you're just fucking going by the Sun, that's not really a trusted source to fucking base your decisions on. So,
but that's the unfortunate thing is that people they read in the newspapers and they believe everything they read. Unfortunately, there's people who
sometimes I sit there and think, do they want it to fuck up so they've got more to write about? And
of course they do, because at the moment they've hardly got anything to write about. You know, they're scrapping around for any bit of news at the moment. So I mean it's not good times. I mean, as you said, I think some people are expecting him to lift a lot of the restrictions on Sunday night. I don't think he will. I think this country is about another 5 or 6 weeks behind before we start getting any little light restrictions.
Mad. That is mad. Honestly, I'm getting to that point where I'm starting to get like really like irritable now. Like I've really noticed that. Just so another 5 or 6 weeks. It's going to be tough, guys.
So what's the subject tonight? What we got?
Well, it's the one that we was going to do last week, but you weren't here. I thought we should just have a little chat about the from the start of the channel to now, the highs and lows, best memories, worst memories. You know what it's like to be part of a fan channel.
Who wants to start?
I think it should be you, don't you think?
Yeah, we'll all chip in.
I love it. There's so many highs, but there are lows. Should we start positive first and go negative, or should we start negative and go positive?
Why don't we do one of the why don't we sandwich it, right? Why don't we start with a bit of positive, throw in some negative, and then end on some more positive?
And then have a shot of disappointment.
I've got to say, my biggest positive of doing this channel overall is the people I meet and the friends I make, and you know, I was saying this to a guy the other day. Is when I used to go West Ham, not a massive drinker, didn't used to go in the boozers a lot because I'm claustrophobic and I don't like to be in a crowded pub. So when I used to go to Upton Park and that, It's get a pint and keep to myself and try and find a bit of space and all that sort of thing. Obviously, we used to go in the boozers after and whatever when we used to go and we used to chat and all of that. But it's, you know, it's. I've met so many people. Just
it's the same for me. I mean, the people you meet on a match day in the pubs. But you go back to right in the beginning, you know, when we first sort of started this channel, and you remember the days when we used to stand out like having to get people to do fan cams, and we was like, you're shitting yourself asking people because usually you get like some big skinhead bloke go, fuck off, mate. You know what I mean? But now we get people just come over to us and we don't home and away, so we don't have to do it. But no, I'll never forget. And obviously I know Dan wasn't there right in the beginning. He joined sort of like a year after the season after. But yeah, them days when we first sort of started doing it, and it was, you know, I'm not saying we're professionals now, you know what I mean, but we was proper amateur. What are you laughing at?
I just thought of that. I'll tell you the story in a minute. Go on, sorry, mate.
No, yeah, I was just saying. I remember the days. You remember when you used to have the little dictaphone, the mic in your hand, the dictaphone in your pocket, and we used to hide around the corner interviewing people because you was nervous doing it. And but now you look how easy it is now. Like we've gone on to interview ex-players and things like that, and it's mental. It's crazy. But I'll never forget them days because I don't think any of us, apart from looks wise and probably weight wise, have probably changed much since then because we ain't, and we're still we don't let this go to our head. And that's one thing I think where some people do fall down. I think we don't really let this go to our head.
Do you know, let me just fucking ban this geezer.
No.
Say that later.
You shouldn't block him, mate, because like
no, let me just ban him. I'm just adding up with it.
That's why I love doing the channel, because there's people like that.
That's what it's all for.
I'll tell you what, right?
We keep them entertained.
The first couple of fan cams we did, it took me about. Me and Graham used to go out and do it, and we didn't used to do it after the game. We used to do it before. And I can't remember why, but we just decided that was the best way. And obviously, it's not the best way. It's obviously get the reactions after the games, because you're talking to people about stuff that's already happened by the time it goes up. So the first one, it was a guy called Oliver.
Yeah,
it was a guy called Oliver, and I remember putting a test. It was like sort of a test fan cam, and I walked up to him and asked him if he would mind it, and he thought I worked for the cab place. And, he went, "No, I don't want a fucking taxi." And I was like, "No, I don't. I'm not trying to sell you a taxi. I'm trying to sell you a thing. I'm trying to get like to do a test." Anyway, we did that, but I was so nervous doing them. So nervous. Ollie, that was it. Ollie.
Yeah.
I was so nervous.
Didn't we see him at an away game this season?
Yeah, I know his brother. Brother Alex quite well. Yeah, but I'll tell you, the first one I ever done was with an overseas fan, proper one, like before a game.
I remember that.
It was from Denmark, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
No, he wasn't. He was from, where's that Jaskalainen from?
Yeah, Iceland, Finland.
Finland, right? He was from Finland, yeah.
He was like the Jaskalainen fan club or something, wasn't
he? Yeah, right. And they used to have these little cards. We had these little cards printed out, right? And I was interviewing him, and it was coming to the end. It was obviously like one of the first times I've ever done it, and I didn't know how to finish it. So I was scrambling around with my words, and like it was coming towards the end. And I said, "All right, thank you very much." And he went, "No, thank you." And I went, "Love you."
Yeah, I remember that. I remember holding the camera. I was pissing myself laughing.
Everyone was laughing, and I went, "I love you." I mean, thanks.
It was funny because back in them days, I remember now, we used to have the cards and we used to have questions written down what to ask the fans. And We used to interview fans before the game, and then upload them the next day. So uploading fan cams of people talking about before the game, we could have lost like about 6-0 or something like that. And there's people going, we're putting up interviews where people go, yeah, I fancy us today. We could nick a 2-0. We could nick a 2-0 with you.
Yeah, and we lost or something like that, weren't it? It was mad.
What about when we went Leicester away and I interviewed that geezer at half time and I was pissed? And I leant backwards and I interviewed him. What was the opening question? I went, what's your first half?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Please play that interview. I think we cut out the end, and I don't think we've got the copy of the original. I'll have a look though; it might be there. I think you should still do walk-up fan cams when there's football. Split it up in two. We was thinking about doing that this season, mate. To be honest,
yeah, we are going to hopefully get another camera and mic, and maybe go off and do interviews around the other side of the ground or something.
Yeah,
all of the logistics in it of it. That's
Ray Borum says, "Mate, amazing." Which player, Matt Powell, right? Well, we'll do that after. We'll get to the questions after. I'll ask that later. Has anyone got a negative?
Negative.
I suppose is the bother that we had a few seasons back, weren't it? With what we discussed on other Friday night pints when we said we had the people trying to cause trouble.
I mean, that's a negative.
I think the main negative for me personally is when people judge you like on doing these videos and that, and they've never met you in real life. You know, I've had a couple of incidents where people take me the wrong way, but then when they meet me, they're like, "Oh, you're nothing like you are on camera." But I'm like, I don't think I'm any different. I've had incidents, outside our ground, down on the Hammers chat boat. I've had things like. I mean, I think people seem to pick on me because I'm the short one.
Yeah. What about I'm the same height as you? But like, I think another, I suppose, sort of negative, and it's something that you sort of deal with. Obviously, a lot of the time we give up like our match days and stuff like that. So match day becomes sort of work, doesn't it? Like we don't really go on the piss before or after the game. So you could say that that's a sort of negative of that side of things. Every now and then we find a way, once a season or something, whether someone can go away. But I think for the most part, we sort of give up our match days, didn't we?
Yeah. I think especially in the away games is because what a lot of people don't realise is that on the away games, sometimes we're there like an hour after the game, just finishing off fan cams, and then obviously, especially when you're up north somewhere, obviously the West Ham fans have obviously left, and there's only like me and Nicky have gone away that day, his brother, and we're walking back to the car, and you're in an area with other sets of fans and things like that, and not only that, you're an hour and a half, 2 hours behind everyone, so you get home later, and sometimes you only get like 4 or 5 away fan cams, and you think, was it worth it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's it. That's the midweek games, the night kickoffs away.
What about that, Scott? Speaking of that, what he's saying, right? That was it, Newport away, where the mic decided to just fucking die. So me and Scott went up to Newport, like hung around ages after the game, filming all these fan cams in a midweek, and then we looked and all the sound, it was just completely knackered on all the fan cams, and like we was so gutted. It was just felt like that's a big
disappointment as well. Is like it's happened to us even at home games before, where you've done Nicky stood there for like an hour and a half filming fan cams, and then some of them don't come out, and the audio's gone or something like that, and you're like, oh fuck, it does really piss you off.
I think that's been our Achilles heel, isn't it, as a channel, is our audio problems, because it's just something that we've tried to address so many times, and nothing seems to go right for us.
It's weird. It's a weird one, isn't it? Because it's looking at technology, right, and how to deal with it. You go wireless, then you've got the batteries, but if you go wired, then you've got worried about the wires fucking eventually wearing down over time. So it's like if the money's there, I suppose you can make sure that you've got the right equipment in place and you can update it, refresh it if you need to replace wires and shit. But we've had to really carry some equipment through the.
Can I just say I blame the interviewer because the workman always blames his tools.
The thing is, I think it's a difficult one because the stuff we've got is not cheap. You know, it's not like we're turning up with a cheap thing. We pay hundreds of pounds for a microphone. We pay hundreds of pounds for like wireless stuff. We pay hundreds of pounds for a clip on for the phone. And the only reason we use the phones and not the cameras is that it's for speed. Because that's the thing about this is you get like literally you get one shot at it because once they're gone, you know. And I think that's the bad thing about it is that you can't monitor it as you're doing it. But you need it for the speed, you know, because literally if you do it with cameras and that, you're going to be there for all day. All day and night.
Yeah, I mean I used to be sometimes up till like 4 o'clock in the morning when we had the cameras, like uploading fan cams and shit and editing.
Going back to the leave the negatives for me, go back to positive. Phillips just asked there, Dan, how did you first get into the channel? Dan, do you want to give your little story?
My little story, once upon a time. No, like I mean I watched the channel like everyone else. It was most of the same time everyone sort of jumped on, which was like the Arsenal game. I think that sort of video with the fans afterwards went quite far and wide. Like I never really watched YouTube for West Ham stuff or football, anything really. So anyway, I see that. So I used to sort of watch it every week, and I would see like, you know, when you watch something and you think like this is really good show, but like this could improve, or I could. So I'd watch it and watch like post-match pint, and like post-match pint was filmed. There was like so much space between the top, and my OCD would kick in, like between their heads and the ceiling. It's like filmed so. I think bloody hell, like this is a great show, but if they can I just get the camera, put that down, maybe get the quality of the camera look up. Anyway, so I thought, right, do you know what? I'm gonna contact them. I'll contact and just see like, look, this is what I can do and this is this, but I thought I'll wait for after Christmas. So I waited months and months because I had loads of shit going on. I wanted to get out of the way. And anyway, comes to January, I messaged the Facebook page and I think Nicky got back like fairly quickly. Because I just messaged, I said, look, I'm a season ticket holder, got a camera, you know, I love what you do, is what I think I could do. He was like, yeah, do you want to meet up after the Wolves game? Met up after the Wolves game. I didn't know.
If anyone wants to join West Ham Fan TV, that's all you need is a season ticket and a camera.
yeah, exactly. But I didn't know Nicky at the time, right? I didn't know how Nicky was. So when I was there, I was waiting after the game in the pissing rain, right? Can't get hold of this. I'm thinking, oh fuck, like I've been stood up here. Like I didn't realize, you know, sometimes it is hard to get hold. And anyway, so we couldn't get hold of each other, and I just see him there, and he was like, oh right, and we bumped in, and obviously I came and the rest is history. So, and it was, like I said, it was really, the timing of it was crazy because Nicky was going away like in 2 weeks from now?
When it Wolves home in the FA Cup.
Yeah. I think it was home in the FA Cup. So Nicky must have went away the week after or the week after that. So, and Nicky obviously was the one who done the filming and editing at that time. He was the only one who knew how to do any of it. So I think Nicky was saying like he was at that point where he thought, "What the fuck am I going to do?" And then that time sort of really sort of worked out.
I mean, talking about that last season at the Bowden, I mean that was probably the season that really launched our channel, and we were so lucky because we had such a fantastic season results wise, especially away from home. And look at the beginning of the season, Arsenal away, first game of the season, them fan cams, you know, they're some of my favourites. And then obviously we won at Anfield, we won at City, you know, we had the home wins against the big teams, you know, we had so many great memories that season, and the fan cams were just unreal. And you just think that it's going to carry on like that all the time, you know, but it ain't. It's sort of gone backwards since we've gone.
When I joined, that time I joined, after that, mostly we started to sort of really slip, didn't we? It was after I joined like that. From January, obviously, take the last game at the Bowling out, but between January and end of the season, we had a lot of shit results, didn't we? Like the Swansea at home and things like that. So I sort of missed it on the party time.
Do you remember them away days, Nick? I mean, I obviously didn't go to Anfield. You went with Graham, but do you remember City away? how good that was.
Yeah, I remember them all. The bad side to that is the bad side to running a channel like this, when it comes to things like that, is people accusing me or us of wanting West Ham to lose and things like that. Because I can tell you something now, right? If you've ever seen me after a game when I'm walking out, there is nothing worse. There is no worse feeling than walking out with a microphone and having to interview people when we've just lost or lost bad or anything like that. And one of the problems is with that sort of thing is, especially at night time, you stick on a light, you know, and you're interviewing people and people walking past. Some people say they don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? Like, they don't want to hear that. But we would be hypocrites if we only interviewed when we lost, because for me, you learn more and you get more honest opinions when we lose. You know, you get more, you learn more from that. You know,
yeah, we've always said, in we win, lose or draw, we interview anyone. We don't handpick what games we interview people, results. We just come straight out of that London stadium or away ground, whatever the result, and set up that camera, set up the mic, and then people come over and give us their opinions. We don't tell them what to say. We don't say, "Oh, we are Marshy. There's a script. You say that today." Whatever anyone says, it's their opinion and their passion.
Fucking hell. Could you imagine if we had to write scripts out? Fucking hell, it takes enough time as it is. We're sitting there going,
you write a script out because you wouldn't know what the fuck was going to happen.
Can't script a result it hasn't happened. You know, that's the thing. And the other thing that really bugs me with what some of the negative side of it is when people say we only interview the same people.
We interview anybody that's there. You know, when you look at Dom, when you look at Marshy, when you look at Mike and all that, the people that go there regularly, the reason why they're there is because Dom and Marshy walk from the Bobby Moore stand round to where we're sitting, and most of the time they're the last people there. They wait half an hour, 45 minutes and all that before we even get to them. Like, we don't interview the same people. We are an open platform, and I've said that forever and ever. As long as you're fair with us, and you're not coming over just to fucking abuse me personally or whatever. Because if you do, as I say, we're an open platform. You know, my microphone's open to anybody. If you fucking insult me, I'm liable to gin you. Simple as that. Do you know what I mean? I'm just saying. Like, I hold the microphone there for people, but anybody can come over. So anyone that sits there, oh, don't interview Dom anymore. Don't choose who I interview. No, exactly. Do I agree with Dom all the time? No. Do I?
I think if you look at our fan cams though, like we do have a variety, and every match day we get someone new. We always get someone new come over, so you're always going to have the regulars. You're always going to have the regulars because they enjoy doing it. It's what they want to do. And to be fair, if I wasn't part of this channel and I didn't know Nicky or anyone, and I went to West Ham as a season ticket holder, I'd probably want to come over and do a fan cam, you know, because I think it's good.
Fans, the reason why we do this, the reason why we stand outside that ground every week, the reason why we do it is because fans need to have a voice. Because when you get the likes of like Gary Neville turning around again, well, they don't know what they're talking about when they've sat in a studio and you know, watched an Arsenal team and they've got a different perspective of fans need to have a voice. We've seen this. We're seeing this at the moment, is the fact that they're talking about playing these games behind closed doors, reducing the time. None of it's thinking about fans. It's just thinking about putting it on the telly.
Well, didn't Neville come out and say that we should finish the season abroad?
Yeah. None of them think about fans. So in this time, it just shows you how important fans are. And I am at the start of the I'm not going to say I'm the start of the revolution or whatever, but at the minute, this is a time where you can turn around and stand up and say, no, that is not going on. We pay the money. We pay for this fucking league one way or the other. You know, the game belongs to us and not these people. These people have come in and absolutely starting to drain every fucking penny out of it, and we pay for it, right? So when it comes to the point where they can't make any money, they'll just scramble for other ways to look at it, look to make money, and that is where fans need to have a voice. and that's why we should start speaking up. Maybe I could get a few people on, like, you know, to send to these people. We should not be muted by anyone. We're the most important thing in football. That's why these German leagues that are starting up next week, because they've handled this pandemic so much better than anyone else. They're starting up again next week. That's why they've got cardboard cutouts in the fucking stadiums.
Yes, that's the thing. They're thinking of the fans. All right, granted, the fans have had to pay to have that put there, but you know, the thing with German football.
They also pay £100 for a season ticket.
Yeah, exactly. But the clubs are owned partly by the fans.
I mean, speaking of obviously fan cams, I mean, obviously this one's obviously, I suppose, like Dan's interviewed people as well. I've interviewed people. What are some of your favourite? I mean, what are
interviews?
Fan interviews that stick out. I mean, for me, as I said, the Arsenal away ones, that when we beat them there were just unreal, the whole scene. And there's one bit in that I always tell Nicky about is when everyone starts jumping, and if you look closely and just watch Nicky, you see him get pushed right to the back, and his face just cracks me up. But I remember Nathan, you know, outside Everton away and Blackburn away, and
we'll win the boat race.
And obviously outside Crystal Palace away when we drew 2-2, and the geezer was ranting about wanting a player's shirt, and the thing is with that, I mean, I'm trying to watch him and listen to him, but I'm also looking at the police over the road, because the police was over when he's ranting. Yeah, because you was there, weren't you, Scott? You was holding the camera, and the police can hear him ranting, and they're thinking he's kicking off. So they're starting to walk over, and I'm holding the mic, but I've got my hand going to the police like, no, it's all right, it's all right. And I'm just thinking to myself, oh, please, mate, just stop ranting. Like, I'll get you a shirt myself.
My favourite ever one, funny enough, wasn't with a regular. It was with a guy that I met once, and he came up, and it was one of the ones that we. I used to like interviewing Pete, and I haven't seen him in a long while. I hope he's okay, because I haven't heard from him or seen him for a while. Pete was the old guy. He used to work
Bennett.
for Pete Bennett. Yeah. I haven't seen him in a long time. So if anyone knows Pete, can you please let me know he's okay, because I haven't seen him in a while. I don't know whether he just stopped coming or whatever. But it was one guy. It was an older guy. It was sort of middle age, and he was very softly spoken. And it was around the Burnley time, and you know, times like that when we was getting beat bad. It looked like we was gonna be, you know, it looked like we was gonna go down and all that. And a guy come up, and he was so calm, and he said, "Can I speak?" And I said, "Yeah, of course you can. It's you know, it's an open platform." And he just opened up his heart. He poured his heart. He looked like he was going to cry, to be honest. And I had to sort of like direct him through it and all that. But he was talking about how Brady's ripped the soul out of the club, how, you know, they don't care about us anymore, and it's all about corporations, and it's all about please leave out. Like, it wasn't rude. He just like didn't swear. Just said, please leave our club, because you've left us with nothing. We're lost now. And that was probably my favorite one, because it was so off the cuff. He obviously was just passing and thought, I need to say something. And literally, like, that's what we're there for. If you need to get something off your chest, and believe me, when you say these things, they watch them. And that's the good thing about them. They watch them. They watch every single one of them, because there is someone in the club keeping a tab on everything that goes on in fan media and all of that sort of thing. So they get to see them fans, and they get to see what you say about them. And if if we ain't signed a strike or whatever, that was my most favourite one, because it was so passionate, but not a rant. It was just from the heart and all of that sort of thing.
But the Amma's chat have popped up with one that said, fan cam with the lad who whacked a scorer on West Ham to win, a Bobby Moore. Man had a family. That was like, the thing is, me and Tom,
I could feel his pain in the interview, like 20 quid. Like, yeah, I know myself. If I lose 20 quid, mate, I'm upset. So like,
I met him before the game in the pub and was talking to him, and he was saying about stuff he'd got up to Evan away, anything, and seemed like he was a nice guy and that. And then afterwards, obviously, he came out with that, and it was just like, bloody hell.
Ray Chapman, lad, sorry, I've been watching for you over 20 minutes now. You're not answering other people's points of view. Anyway, good luck. Answer some questions. We will get to them, mate. I promise you. We won't be batting on all night. We're going to get to them in about 5 minutes.
I mean, there's loads of fan cams. The one thing with fan cams, especially after we lose, and especially at London Stadium, it's toxic. I mean, Nicky obviously does the interview. Scott holds the camera sometimes, and what I do is I stand behind Scott because I have to watch to see if people, because the amount of people you see walk past and they walk backward and you think, oh, they're going to come over and do something. They're going to do it so I have to sort of stand there and keep my eye out just in case someone does come over, just to sort of intervene and stop them from, because we've had people walk past and shout things when kids are on camera as well, they've shouted things, and you've got to be very careful of that because you've got to remember they are kids. But yeah, I mean, that's the downside to sort of fan cams, but I just, in general, I just love it. As you said, you get to meet people. Obviously, when we first started this, no one sort of knew us, and that was always a thing for me that always stands out because someone said it to me once at an away game. They come up to me and they said, it was only a couple of seasons ago, and they said to me, "Oh, I never see you over West Ham before, doing this channel and all that." And I thought, well, before this channel, mate, you want to know what I look like. So how would you know that I was at West Ham or not? I said, to be fair, mate, I've never seen you at West Ham before. He went, oh, yeah. I've been going since the fucking 70s, mate. I went, well, I don't fucking know. I don't look out for you, do I? He went, oh, yeah, all right, yeah, fair point, and walked off.
You recognise people now. You guys go more away games than what me and Dan get to, but you recognise people when you're going away games, the ones that are there regulars, and that's it. Before we did this, there's certain people who you recognise the people who used to sit around you. But other than that, you wouldn't recognise other people in the ground, or if you went away.
You don't sort of have to recognise them, do you? No. You don't want you see them, but you don't think, oh yeah, I'll see him every week. But,
no, exactly. That's it. There was times when before we knew each other, we were all going over West Ham at a similar sort of time, and I didn't know who you guys were. I don't see any of you at West Ham going over there, and it's vice versa.
Yeah, you're not going to turn around and go, oh, I remember you from bloody Man United at home in 2003. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're that guy.
Oh, mate, believe me at Norwich away in 1995.
Just believe me, we were there. We've been there all our lives. Amos Chat said, I shouldn't have enjoyed this one, but the 66 PMP was class, really original and creative. That was a good one.
Probably the only PMP I've ever directed or had an idea for, but Nicky edited it, and no, it was brilliant. When that come out, it was funny because we had to pretend that we was in the 60s. And when Graham walked in, Graham he combed all his hair forward, and Nicky had a suit on. He was smoking in the fucking, and all I'm thinking is, oh shit, the smoke alarm's gonna go off. I'm wearing a replica shirt, and I said, oh yeah, I got it from someone at the game. Fucking, that was good. It was good.
That was a quality PMP, that one.
Whose idea was making interviews when you first started interviewing fans? It was mine. No, I don't think that's fair because it was. I had the idea for post-match pint. I set every. I mean, I'm sure we've told this story on here before, but we sat in a fucking cafe at the end of my road, man, and I was drawing diagrams and pictures and, the way the fucking cameras are going to be set up, and we had the fucking room in mind and everything else, but it was going to be broadcast on Knees Up Mother Brown. We approached them with the idea. We wanted them to sort of front it and sort of to give us an instant audience, if that makes sense. But I had the idea just off the top of my head. I was at home one day, I just had it. But then when we started doing it and we started to we had to go on our own because Graham, who runs Knees Up Mother Brown, he turned around and went off of it. He didn't. I don't think he liked it. So we got to a point where we just said, right, boys, do we carry on our own, or do we sort of go it, just jack it all in? and the boys went, let's give it a go on our own, and like it took off, like post-match pints and all that. They took off quite quickly. I was quite surprised when I look at some of the other sort of fan channels that started recently. They don't get as many views as we did early on. Like it was quite surprising how quickly people just took to it. And we did that. Then Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV watched it, and he liked it, and he wanted to bring us into a network and give us ideas of how to make it successful. And he did. And his fan cams, I mean, our fan cams and his fan cams are very different. Like they're different tones, but it's not because he does the same thing. It's just the way that the fans are, if that makes sense. And I think our fans are a lot more sort of pent up, and they're a lot more sort of realistic about expectations. So that makes it a different tone. But he gave us the idea, and like not the idea, but he gave us the direction in like what we need to do this, and what we need to do that, and all of that sort of thing. And then it just grew from there, and you start getting to know people, and Robbie's a very good friend of ours, Like I talk to him quite regularly, he was a big, I wouldn't say influence because we was already doing it, but he was a big help at the start because we literally knew nothing.
Yeah, the thing is with Robbie, I remember being in the meeting with you and Robbie, and he sort of told us what we was doing wrong.
Yeah.
And we changed a few things, and within a couple of weeks, we noticed the difference with subscribers going up and the fan cams going up earlier. It was just little things like that. I mean, I know some people think that Robbie owns our channel. He doesn't own our channel. He didn't create West Ham Fan TV. But one thing with Robbie is you can always pick up the phone to him or message him, and he'll give you a bit of advice, or he'll help you out in any way he can.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a diamond bloke, I must admit. Every time, you guys, obviously Nicky's seen him more than us, but he always makes time to come and talk to you as well.
No, he's as down to earth as anyone. Yeah. But station 357.
He didn't want to make time for us when we beat him at the Emirates because he tried getting away.
Love Pete Bennett, the old guy. Wasn't he something to do with Wag Bennett run the old gym back in the day? I don't know.
He was the motorbike and bike shop, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I don't know if he had a gym, but
Ray Chapman says, how the fuck Robbie suffered him? I don't know. Nice guy though, Robbie. Their fan cam blood and all that. Ray, that's just the way they are. It's just I couldn't I know Troops and I know DT and all that. And they're nice guys, man. They just fucking lose their brains when it comes to Arsenal. They just fucking lose it. But outside of all that, they're nice guys, and fucking they can come across a bit arrogant, but fucking who don't at the end of the day. What was your first game? I think we've done this. We've done this a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what is a big plus for me is it's a plus and a negative. It's like when I got to have an input in the club, if that makes sense. They called us to have an input. They didn't fucking take any notice of us, but they asked for us specifically to have an input in the club, but that come with a lot of shit. And like I've vowed, to be honest with you, personally, I can't talk for the other four, but I vowed never to help that club out again because they. Not only did they chuck us under the bus at times, they've let other people take credit for things that we've done, and you know what I mean. Like, it doesn't bother me because I can sit here and tell you 10 things that we mentioned at the start of this move to the stadium, which has improved the thingy, but they're letting other people take the credit for it, which is fine. I don't care as long as it gets done. As long as everyone's
the worst thing is, mate, is that the people that take the credit for it actually think that they give them ideas and they make out that they had the ideas. But I'm the same as you, mate. I was in the meetings with you. We attended 6-8 meetings. Listen, it don't bother me as long as that club improves. I don't care who says it. but I'm not one for saying, "Oh, we got this, we got that."
Yeah, but that's it. I don't care. I don't care who I don't care who did what. I just care that it gets done. You know, people needed to, things needed to change. I don't care who did what, but I'm just telling you now. I haven't really said it a lot, but a lot of things were said, and like a lot of people who sat there fucking like claiming to have done this and done that, sat in rooms and said fuck all, nothing.
Oh yeah,
I was sitting there.
I mean, I'm not naming names, but I've seen someone who does videos screaming and shouting at a camera. And I was in a meeting. He was in their meetings, and he had his head down for 3 hours and didn't even say one word. The only thing he done was put his head up to get a sandwich.
Yeah, this thingy. Jamie Thomas, this is a good one. What have you learned about yourselves while doing West Ham Fan TV?
That's an hard one.
I've learned that anything is possible. And I know that sounds a bit cliche, but the skills I've learned, the mistakes I've made and all that, if you can think it, you can do it. That's what I've learned from West Ham Fan TV. If you can think about it, and if you can think of a way to, like, realistically, I'm not talking about flying or fucking, going to fucking knock a million people out, but if you can think about something, it can be done. Just there's a way to do it.
What have I learned about myself? I probably think that, editing side, I'm not really good at. I know the last 3 or 4 weeks I've practiced doing little, like the standard editing. I'm not up to any scratch like Dan or Nicky. But I suppose it's confidence, like being, because you remember the first time you sit in front of a camera on your own, and even though there's no one in the room, you're still nervous. I mean, if you go back to the beginning of our videos and watch the first one I ever done on my own, I look like a scared little kid, and I'm giving away prizes. I don't look like I was giving away bad news. Yeah, you do. You grow in confidence and you enjoy it, and yeah, I think when you're pushed to your limits, I think sometimes if you think that you can't do something, if you're pushed to your limits, you can actually do it, and if you enjoy doing it, it's even better.
Yeah, it's a real
doing videos by yourself is always a tough one.
I mean, you used to do videos looking like fucking Smith and Jones back in the day, didn't you? Like the two.
Remember that one was upside down, Scott?
Yeah, I remember that. We done one. Me and Grant done one, like you said, just after Albert's funeral.
Yeah, you look like a couple of security guards on your lunch break.
But that's it. But it's that thing, and it is confidence. When you feel confident, you breathe what you're doing, and doing the previews and stuff like that. When you feel it, you nail it, and you get what you want to get said out straight away. But there's other times when you feel down in yourself, and for me, I notice a difference. I notice a difference when I feel positive and when I feel down in myself. That comes across when I'm.
I always think before you do a video, you need to make sure that you've had a good day and you're in a good mood. Yeah. Because I think sometimes where I've done videos in the past where I've had a shit day, or I've just had whatever, an argument or whatever, and you do a video and it comes across in the video and you just want to get it done. So that's one thing I have learned as well. So it's like that old saying, innit? Never go to bed on an argument.
That's it.
Sometimes you have a choice.
Why covering the game made you upset and angry?
I think my worst ever post-match point for me was when we lost to Burnley 3-0 at home, because obviously you had the whole thing with the day, and obviously it was my birthday that day as well, so it didn't make it any easier. But to go and film post-match pint, that's the only post-match pint that I've never wanted to do. I didn't feel like doing it. I just wanted to go home because it was it was a horrible day, and that's one that always sticks in my memory as probably the only post-match pint I've never ever wanted to do.
I can't tell a specific one, but I know that there are ones where, like, I've got frustrated because if you look back at post-match pints and all that with the Sullivan and the Brady and all of that sort of thing, I was one of the first people. No, I'm not going to say I'm not one of the first people, but I've been saying it for a long, long time. I could see what they're, and there were times when I think that it's just so blatantly obvious, like just shit in your face, and expect you to take it, that I've just lost my shit on some of them. I've lost my rag like many a time. I've had to, this links into the next question. I've had to make apologies to people, when I've fucking gone off on one, because like with me, I just lose my fucking rag. I lose my rag with it all when I start fucking. I'm a bit like an Italian. I don't know what it is. I just fucking go off and I start fucking flinging my arms up in the air and throwing a wobbler and all that. And no one can say anything to sort of calm me down. And like I say things, and then the next day I just think, oh, this fucking, like, you're just being stupid, Nick, and all of that sort of thing. But yeah,
I'm the same. Sometimes you're ranting and you forget the camera's on.
Yeah,
and you're ranting it, but that is the whole thing with post-match pint. It was set up to be four mates in a pub talking about the game, but we do it, but we've got a camera rolling. So sometimes you've got to be careful what to say.
Yeah.
But sometimes
I would never say anything on a camera or like to my friends that I wouldn't say to someone's face.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's not like going behind people's backs and,
it's just like us going on a night out and taking the camera with us and just talking about football.
If you say it on camera, it's basically the same as saying it's that person, because it's public for them to see anyway. So it's not like you're trying to be like, behind their backs anyway.
It's tough doing the PMP well when we've been hammered in the past, isn't it? Trying to sit there and try and pick positives out of a game where we've just got to beat.
Funny enough, I was thinking about this the other day. I think I was trying to think of. Do you reckon we've done more post-match pints talking about losses than wins?
I reckon.
100%. Take away the draws. It was just wins and losses. It's got to be, isn't it? I think we've had about 10 post-match pints where we've won in 4 years.
It feels like it. It bloody feels like it.
I think we've only won 4 times this season at home.
I know. Crazy.
Super Stubbies, you get on well with Hammers Chat. What do you make of other West Ham channels? Do you all know each other? Mostly.
Yeah. I mean, we get on well with Hammers Chat. I get on well more with Gio, if I'm honest. Got a lot of time for Gio. Obviously, other West Ham channels. I mean, Free Hammers. I've only ever met one of them, Luke. He's a lovely bloke. I've never met anyone from Irons United, so I think I've met one of them. Who else is there? JP, we've met JP. Hammer and Talk. I know he's not around no more, but I've met him. So yeah, I mean, look, the thing is with as I said, look, I love Gio. I was watching their show the other day. A couple of weeks ago when they was doing their 1,000th video special, and Gio said something on there about the fan channels of rivals. And for me, I don't see anyone as rivals. I really don't. I'll go home and I'll watch other West Ham content. The reason I watch it is because I want to see if they say the same things as me and think the same as me. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's always good to see because obviously we all have different views on things on post-match pint, and people on fan cams have different views, but that's our channel. But then when I watch other people's channels, so I don't ever see anyone as a rival. I want to get on with everyone. I'd love to work with everyone. I mean, I've noticed someone that's popped up recently on another fan channel, who started doing YouTube now, who give me a lot of shit, who give our channel a lot of shit as a troll, who's someone who confronted me on the Hammers Chat boat. It's all sorted now. It's all done. Life goes on.
You wanted to fight Dan. Do you remember that?
Yeah, no, but
what? Oh, we started a channel.
No, it's
he wanted to fight Dad. He was looking for Dad.
No, but this is the thing. It's things
and now
like
he
that.
Started a YouTube channel.
He obviously never didn't know me. He judged me as whatever. We had a little thing on the boat. It's all done and dusted now. It's forgotten about. We shook hands after. He's apologized. Fair enough. But now he's doing YouTube. It'd be interesting to see, because he used to troll us and sort of have a go at us for saying things. But it'd be interesting now to see when he says things on YouTube, whether he gets trolled and whether he gets bad comments, and then he'll sort of maybe see what we sort of go through.
Yeah,
but
understand.
I've got no problem with anyone. I would listen. I will talk to anyone. If people come up to me in the ground, outside the ground, and they want to chat in the pub afterwards, I always stand there and chat. Always.
I'll be honest with you. I like total 100% discrepancy. Yeah, I've only got a problem with one person, one channel, and it's that I've got a problem with them. And like, I'm not going to mention them. I'm not going to give them any stick. But I've got good reason. And believe me, like, I'm not the only person, and we're not the only channel that have got any sort of like this argument with this channel. Like, a lot of people have got a lot of arguments with them. It's because they're rude and they try to like come into the community and stir the pot. And I've got no time for that sort of thing. And like, every time there's something controversial going on, every time that they, you know, something happens or someone's having an argument, they want you to go on their channel to boost their views and all that. I ain't got to go on, like, and this is not me being big-headed. I ain't got to go on their channel. I've got my own channel, which is fucking 20 times bigger than theirs. So I ain't got to go and fucking do them any favors just because, like, they want to sit there stirring the fucking pot. They was asking us to fight. Like, there was a time, like, especially during like the March, like the March time, you know, like the Burnley game and all that sort of thing. There was times when people, like, channels didn't get on. They not get on, but they didn't agree with the way it should be handled. And a lot of people were going backwards and forwards in an argument. It didn't mean we didn't like each other. It didn't mean we was arguing. It didn't mean we wanted to fight each other. But these people come along and said, why don't you all fucking sort it out like in a big scrap? And I was like, what the fuck we're going to fight for? We ain't got to fight. But these people just come along like they've been around for 5 minutes and they're trying to dictate everything. And when we was going to these meetings, they was making it sound like we was withholding information, which we wasn't. We was telling everyone everything. Everybody that was there told everyone everything. So that's the reason we have a problem. And like lately, someone come up to us lately and said, like, he DM'd me, we've got to sort it out. I don't really know. We've got to sort all this out. And I ain't got to sort nothing out. Believe me, I ain't got to sort nothing out. I don't have to talk to anyone that I don't want to talk to personally. And I told him at the time, you know, I'm not talking to you now. There's people around. If you want to have a chat, I'll come and see privately. But he wanted to carry it on. So I told him in public. Ryan dragged him away, blah, blah, blah. That's the only channel that I've got any sort of problem with. And it's because they're shit stirrers. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah, see, I mean, I haven't. I know where you're coming from, Nick. I know exactly what you're talking about. But for me, I just ignore them. And, you know, until people sort of want to come up to me and say something. But I'll always stand there and talk to people. You know, I never ignore anyone. I will always stand there and talk to people. I'm not in it to think we're the best. I know, like, we might have 50,000 subscribers, but we could be sitting here with 10 subscribers and we'd still be the same. You know, I don't walk around thinking I'm better than any West Ham fan channel. I don't. And just quickly, Ray Chapman's thing on the screen about Wag Bennett. Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger used to live above the bike shop in Silvertown. I remember when
and Forest Gate. He lived in Forest Gate
when Wag Bennett died. He was obviously governor of California at the time, Arnie, and he couldn't make it, but he sent over a massive bouquet. And I remember he used to go in his shop and used to have pictures because it was when Arnie was a bodybuilder. It was before his acting and all things like that. And it's crazy to think that Arnie
had a bike shop by Canning Town Station.
Yeah, just over Silvertown Flyover.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It wasn't over the flyover, I don't think. It might have been. I don't know.
Well, you know what I mean. It's on the way to the flyover.
Yeah, I remember Wag Bennett. That's where I used to get all my punches repaired.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Hold on. What's Nicky the oldies man? Magic crystal wand. It's a Minnie Mouse pen, mate. Yeah, I am. I'm
yeah.
waving
Someone
chat colouring. Nothing better than getting annoyed with waving around a Minnie Mouse pen. Forest Gate, Bill Stevens, and that's it. He used to live above there. I remember he took him in. I watched a documentary about it as well. That was decent. Andrew Miles, what West Ham game in the past you wish you had a fan cam for? Mine would have been the Man United away on a great escape safety.
That'd have been a good one.
Yeah, do you know what? That's a good question. You know,
Playoff final.
Yeah,
would have been
playoff
a good
final,
one.
2012,
I'd
or
say.
even going back to 2005 when we beat Preston in the playoff final. You know, I don't think me and Nicky would have been able to hold a camera that day because we was a bit pissed. But yeah, I mean, there's loads. Yeah, you could go back to some games, but I think we had a decent first season at the Bowling. I think that was massive.
Lucky, lucky.
First full season, we was there the season before, but we sort of come around January, February time, didn't we? So we only got about 5 or 6 home games.
But going back, to be fair, you would have loved to have done fan cams after the cup final win in 1980.
Oh, yeah.
I like to have done it in like 1964 when everyone's got like top hats on and things like that. I could
European Cup, Winners' Cup.
Yeah, they're the time.
In my lifetime, I think it would have been the FA Cup run-in, not the final, but the run-in to the FA Cup
semi-final.
Yeah. Like after that, because I remember at Villa Park, I was at Villa Park that day. That was fucking raging. Like the feeling after that game.
You think back to then, like YouTube weren't even around then, was it?
Just about. It was just about
started, wasn't it? There was no social media hardly, was there? Like I don't even think Facebook and Twitter was around. It was like you'd have had to log on to MySpace to watch. Like,
could you imagine?
FA Cup semi-final, that Villa Park one, that was buzzing, man. Matt Powell says, go on.
No, go on, mate.
Matt Powell says, anyone you interview, you want to have a go at or even it? No, the thing is, like, a lot of people, like, when you look at social media and things like that, a lot of people get the arsehole about people's opinions. I don't get the arsehole about people's opinions. I've got my opinion and they've got their opinion. Just because your opinion differs to mine doesn't mean I want to fight you. Do you know what I mean?
There's been people that hanging around fan cams sometimes that I've wanted to fucking have a lash out at, that are just there to sort of stir things up. But yeah, I mean,
we've had a couple of like scrapes like over the years with people that are, you know, just shit stirring and all that thing and starting on people for the sake of starting on people. But no one that I've interviewed, I don't think. No one that's maybe one, but
no, didn't he say? Oh, right. Is that what he's asking? Anyone that we have interviewed? I thought he meant, is there anyone you want to interview to have a go at? And I was thinking, Golden Sullivan, but that's
no.
You're not getting involved much down there. What's going on?
No, I was just trying to looking into the comments. I'm just trying to read the comments. And,
I mean, let's go like a few positive things. I mean, let's look at some of the things that we've been lucky enough to sort of like been invited to. You know, you and Nicky and Dan, obviously, you've gone to FIFA launches, and me and Nicky and Graham was lucky.
I love FIFA. So.
Yeah, me, Nicky and Dan, Nicky and Graham, was lucky enough to go to
Bobby Moore premiere,
Bobby Moore film premiere. You know, it's mental. Some of the things, the Iron Men premiere when we got to interview Bilic, James Collins, Ray Winston. The ex-players that we've been lucky enough to sit down and interview: Frank Lampard Sr., Di Canio, John Arkham, Ruddock, Matty Everton, Cotty, Paul Konchesky, Phil Parks. There's been so many great memories from doing this channel, and we'd never have had the opportunities to we would never have been given them opportunities if you weren't doing this channel. And probably the biggest one for me was obviously playing in the charity football game last year. To play in the Isle of Caton charity game was something that I'll never forget. You know, hopefully I'm lucky enough to play in another one in the future. But if I don't, I'll always have that memory, like sitting in that change room. I've got Julian Dix as my manager, my hero, my idol. I'm sitting in the change room with all these ex-players and playing in the game, and it was just an amazing experience, and it's one that I'll never ever forget.
So Newcastle fan,
but enjoy watching you lads up to par. Was always one of my favourites. Anyways, not so much now though. Keep up the faith, lads. We had no hope with Ashley, but next week we're richest club in the world. Good luck to you, mate.
Has it gone through yet? Like, is it official? Because I thought that it hadn't gone through, and there was complications or something.
Yeah, I don't know if it's been confirmed yet, but look, if it is, then it's amazing for Newcastle. And as I said, they're a massive club. You know, great support up there. Even in the championships, sold out week in, week out. I know they've had a lot of shit with their owners, so we can sort of relate to them. But there's always light at the end of the tunnel. It might take a few years, but you know, hopefully, West Ham will be in that position one day.
Fingers crossed we get to that situation. Do you know what I mean? They're lucky. You know,
Ray Chapman, I don't think we was lucky.
Very lucky.
At bowling, it was our spirit from fans and players at the time, and what was at stake personally. Man United last game at home v Man United will go down in history memories. I didn't mean we was lucky, mate. We wasn't lucky at all. I thought we was one of the better teams that season. I think we should have been playing Champions League football at the end of it. I think we was that good. We got fucked over by a couple of referees. What I meant by saying we was lucky to start it at that time.
Yeah. As a fan channel, we was lucky to have all the great memories. And I mean, Ray's bang on there. I think most of them games. One game that springs to mind when the Arsenal game, 2-0 down, and you're 3-2 up, and we drew 3-0 in the end. But that game for me just summed up that season for us. It weren't until we lost to, I think, was it Man United in the cup replay that we'd been unbeaten at home since August when we lost to Leicester, went or Bournemouth, Bournemouth, or I can't remember now. But when do you ever know West Ham to go that long without losing it sort of at home?
Exactly, and that's good. That season was, we got robbed so many times by refereeing decisions. And you think, what could have been.
What? VAR that season, we'd have probably won the league.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Not being funny, you are right. It could have happened because we were stripped so many points that season due to refereeing errors.
What's going on with the questions here? We had one question that was up and then we never answered it, and that's gone now. What happened to that one?
No, I'm clicking them different ones because we're taking too long and the new ones are coming.
Let's try.
Ray Borum, I want Red Bull to take over so I get free tickets.
The thing is, listen, I'll take Red Bull's money to take us over so long as they didn't try and change the name of the club. Let's be honest.
Which I don't think they're allowed to do. I don't think they can do legally because
if we want to go forward, if we want to go forward as a club, then we need a big investor, and Red Bull seem to have, a large amount of cash to be able to spend. And the teams they've took over, they're not doing too bad. You look at.
Imagine if they took over and we went unbeaten for a little while, and the slogan was "Red Bull gives you wins."
You know what?
See? Marketing, mate. It's
that's it. And they've not done. Look at Leipzig now. They've took them from where they were, put them. They're playing in they're in and around the top of the league. They're challenging in Europe, things like that, and that's what we want. As I said, I just for a company like that to come in, it'd be great so long as they didn't mess about with a name.
Which again, I don't think they could if they wanted to, because the whole manager tried to change them to Hull City Tigers, didn't he?
Yeah,
the whole owner.
Listen,
what's that?
Tell Dan to stop playing with everything on his desk.
It's force of habit. Sorry. It's just I'm a fiddler. No, don't say that. That's
remember Cardiff City's owners when they changed their home kit to red?
Listen, I think any owner that comes in is not going to have a good like baptism of fire if they try to change anything. People won't. I think we've been burned once. And that's a pretty big one. Anyone that comes in now, they'd be fucking mad to change anything because the thing is as well, it's so marketable. So everything that we've got at the moment is marketable for a new owner. So I think they'd be absolutely crazy. It just depends if they want to get involved. I mean, when it comes to football and football ownership and all of that sort of thing, like look. We're gone past the days where you get like a Jack Walker at sort of Blackburn who's got a few million quid in the bank and then he wants to make his club the best. We're at the days now, as much as fucking Gold and Sullivan turn around and say they're West Ham fans, they're businessmen. They want to make money, and every club in this fucking
that would have been good, Sally.
Every
I would have been replaying that bit over and over again if you'd have gone backwards off that chair, especially as you got no trousers on.
You know, everything in this league is sort of gun towards making money. They you know, it's such a fucking money making machine. This pandemic is going to change people's behavior. It's going to change the way people think about football. It's going to change the way about the way people spend their money around football. It's going to change the way people spend their money in general. Yeah. They're going to struggle without giving things back. Like they're so used to the problem is with football now is they've got you in a seat, and if you leave that seat, they've got 4 people lining up to take that seat. Yeah. I think after this, I don't think there will be 4 people willing to take that seat. You know, I don't think there'll be 1 person willing to take the seat because people are going to be getting more frugal with their money and all that. And this is where it's going to start hitting these people. People have cancelled their Sky Sports subscriptions. Will they just get them back straight away? I don't think so. You know, people are going to want to know what's going on in the world, and I think it's going to change. I think it's going to change the way football is for the better in the short term. But what we need to do is once we get that control back, and once we get that sort of mindset back, don't give it up easily again.
Exactly,
because you know. We've seen what they're doing. We've seen.
I think what's going on now is going to prove how important fans are to football in general, and maybe the owners and maybe even players to an extent might start appreciating fans a bit more after, because sometimes these current players can be a bit up their own arse. You know,
maybe today, mate. Oh, do you know what? I'm fucking furious.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. All right, he's gone to see his family in Sheffield. Apparently, he was suffering, you know, depression. We all are, and it just gets highlighted more because he's a football player. But it's not the first time he's done it. So
he fucking hosted a orgy.
What?
That's the thing, though. That's the thing. He's not like he's been locked down like everybody else has had to sit there and suffer being locked inside. And, you know, he's been flaunting it. He's been flaunting it since it all started. You know, and that's the problem. He's just digging himself a bigger and bigger hole, isn't he? Let's be honest.
A lot of these players, they think that things don't apply to. You had Jack Grealish, didn't you, as well? He was another one. He was fucking sneaking out, doing this, that, and the other.
Declan Rice done it.
Yeah,
did he? Oh yeah. He went around.
I'm sure there's been many more that we ain't fucking heard about, mate. But you know, I'm just saying, like some of these people, they've got money and all that. They're so fucking far gone from what's going on in the world. They think they can just do and say whatever. But the thing is, he come out today and he's put out this statement about how he's depressed, and you know, he shouldn't have been at his sister's house. I wasn't at my mum's house. I wasn't at my fucking sister's house. I was at home. He shouldn't have been at his and that's from Manchester to Sheffield. That's quite a fucking trek.
Yeah, but look at there's people out there that live in high-rise flats, 1-bedroom flats on their own, who are stuck indoors, right? Not having got the big mansions and the acres of land. There's old people who are by themselves and cut off from their family. You know, I know people in my family all by themselves, and you know they all are having to go through it. And this geezer has every luxury he could possibly want. Right, and you know, beautiful misses indoors and everything, and he still can't stay indoors. So it's, you know, I have no sympathy.
You know, I've been lucky where I'm working. I drive past my mum and dad's every day. So on my way back from work, I pop in. Well, I don't pop in. I pop outside. I sit outside, talk to my mum and dad at the door. So I've had that interaction with my mum and dad. You know, they ain't seen my boy, their grandson, they've seen him. I think they've seen him once since all this started, and that's it. You know, and that's the thing. That's what people forget. There's people out there that are being affected by that. That there's people. I remember going to a job, and there was this lady, and it was at her 88th birthday. We're working on the outside of her property, and she said we are the only people she's going to see on that day. And her family couldn't. Her family live in North London. She lives in South London. Her family couldn't come and visit her on her birthday. And then you've got someone like him who's just going around flaunting it the way he wants to.
But he's hosted a party, an orgy. And then he's been caught again, doing it again when he shouldn't be. And he's like, well, what am I supposed to do? My sister went and hugged me. What am I supposed to do? Well, not be there in the first place. You've already been fucking warned to her. And then he's saying and then he's saying like his kids are suffering because of it. Bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm in the same situation. I haven't seen my daughter in over 6 weeks now, and it's killing me. But I know that it is nothing I can do, But there's always, FaceTime, phone calls. I've seen someone just put there family quizzes. I do that with my family, like my mum and dad and brothers and all that. And it's just what it's one thing you have to do during this time. But look, what are we in it now? What is this 7-8 weeks now? We're closer. We're getting closer and closer. So hopefully in a couple of months' time. I'm hoping that Boris says on Sunday that he will allow a bit more people visiting each other, like close family and that. So hopefully it'll change over the weekend.
I'll be honest, mate. I'm hoping it don't, because I want to stay safe and I want people to stay safe. I want this thing to fuck off. I don't want it to, we're the worst in the country. We're the worst in Europe, sorry, for deaths and things. Yeah, we've done something wrong. We're not being quick enough and all of that.
It's population and the size of the land. We're more densely populated than other places.
Yeah, but I don't want to catch a virus, and I don't want my mum to catch a virus.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And that's it. Like I said, my in-laws live over the road, so we go and stand outside theirs and talk to them and things like that. And I said to my father-in-law today, it ain't the facts. If I catch it, I catch it. The thing for me is, if I catch it, I don't want to pass it on to someone else, because I'm killing someone else, and that's what I don't want to do.
Yeah, exactly, mate.
Selfish. I go work, I come home, I disinfect myself, so to speak, before I walk in the door, because, like I said, you don't want to pass it on to people.
Anyway, keep washing your hands, and we get through it. Another one thing I know, like, just want to talk about it quickly, because what are we on? An hour and 11 minutes now, but obviously it's Mark Noble's birthday today.
Oh yeah,
33, Mark Noble. I see a poll on Twitter today saying West Ham will never move on while Mark Noble's still in the team or in the squad. I mean, what's your thoughts on that? Because I just think that's absolutely ridiculous. And I think that some of our fans, and I find this more the younger sort of generation, sort of disrespect people like Mark Noble, and they don't realise that Mark Noble's a dying breed, because these people that think Declan Rice is going to be around in 2 or 3 years' time, he's not. Mark Noble's been there from a little boy, to go on to captain the club that he loves as a fan. And look, we all know he's not the quickest, he's not the skillfulest, but there's not one player in that team. You could put the other 10 players together, and them 10 players wouldn't have more heart than Mark Noble.
It don't make sense, like, because if we'd have not played him all these years, we would have been in a better position. Like, he's what we had. And, like I said, you said he's been a good servant to the club, but it's just this idea of like, well, if we get rid of Martin Noble, we get him out the side, like we're just going to be sailing. That's it. Success is going to come our way. It's so it's lazy, I think.
The amount of times I've seen people say Martin Noble shouldn't be in the team, and as soon as he's out of the team, they're saying he should be back in the team.
But that's the thing. It's all right saying, oh, Mark Noble shouldn't be in the team. What is there in that squad to replace Mark Noble? And Mark Noble will be the first person, if there's a better player in that team to take his place, he'd step aside and let him take the place. But managers he's played under have sat there and thought, there isn't a better team.
Go on.
Yeah, you look at Noble that season, the last season at Upton Park. He raised his game. He raised his game to another level because he knew how important that season was. And there was better players around him. And Noble, like you've said before, Ryan, many a time me and you have had discussions, and especially when we first started, I weren't a fan of Noble, and you've changed my mind on him massively. And he raised the game for the better players around him.
I grew up as you look after your own. And Mark Noble is one of your own. And we've seen players come through like Joe Cole, Carrick, and all players like that. And yeah, they've gone on to bigger and better things. But we've always been a club that brings through the youth and give them a chance. And for me, I just think Mark Noble is a dying breed. I don't think West Ham will ever have a player that will stay at the club as long as Mark Noble does. And I just think that once he retires, I think people will appreciate him a little bit more.
Yeah. I agree, mate.
Well, exactly. It's because you're getting a rise in like mercenaries, isn't it? Like you're more mercenaries in football these days, and I think a lot of people moan about it. And then when you're not having Mark Noble, you know,
John Rambo's just said he's old. He's old now. Age is something you cannot fight, which is true. But people have been saying it for the last 4 years. So, you know, he's only 33. So people have been saying it since his late 20s. Yeah. His legs are finished and he's gone.
It's about use now. Now he is getting a bit older in his career and things like that. It's now using him wisely. Yeah, to be honest, depending on the signings next season, I don't see Noble as a starter. But I think he still has a role to play in and around the squad for the next 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, listen, even when he retires, Scott, they're going to give him a sort of role at the club, either as a coach, if he wants to go into that, or an ambassador or something. If he might want to go into the media. You never know what he wants to do. But, I mean, what I'm saying is just at the moment, I think too many people sort of disrespect him a bit. And as I've said, look, we know he's not the quickest. We know he's not the most skillfulest, but his heart and passion wins it for me.
I think we've got a rebuild coming. I think one of the things that Moyes being in charge, I think we've got a massive rebuild coming because I think we've got too many players that are just mercenaries that don't care enough about the club and are there just to take their pay packet and all that. And I'll be honest with you, I think the players like Hilaire and all that expensive. Not flops, but they're expensive. But they'll be off tomorrow. If someone comes in with a £1 more than they're already on, they'll be off. And I think there's going to be a rebuild around sort of a British, with a British spine. So like Bowen would be he's going to be the focal point of our attack. It looks like,
and what you're saying there is, I hope that Declan Rice is part of that. And I'd love West Ham. And when we said this last week, you wasn't on, but we said West Ham now. Their main thing they should do is say to Declan Rice, here's a new 3 or 5 year deal, double his money or triple it, wherever he's on. Say you're the future captain. We want to build around you, and that's what West Ham need to do.
That's it. Yeah. That's the thing that, as we said before, that is the key to us going forward, building around our better, younger players.
But I don't necessarily think like, okay, if we sign more British players, that will remove the mercenary element in the squad, because you get a lot of British mercenaries. And obviously, look, a lot of these players, even Bowen and that, they're leaving their clubs to come to our clubs. 1, because we're in the Premier League, and 2, because what we're paying them. So it's hard to find players that would go, I love West Ham, and find players that are fans. And that's why someone like Noble,
people like Noble around to sort of instill that into the squad.
Yeah. That's it.
That's one of great people.
And I definitely think he's a future manager for West Ham.
I'll be honest with you. I think we let Tompkins go too early.
Oh yeah, that was a massive mistake.
Just because he knew the club, and it was at a time where we needed stability in the club, and we needed to sort of take that culture into something new. And I think Nobes was there. I think Cresswell had been there a little while, but I think Nobes was there, like sort of spreading the message. But I think someone like Tompkins and like there as well, who was a West Ham boy who come through the youth system, who knew everything, the ins and outs of the club. I think he would have been just as I think it would have just been as important.
I agree with the Tompkins thing, but I just think at that time the money was too good to turn down for him.
Yeah, money was good, but I think there was other people that could have gone before him, just because we needed familiar faces.
There's a lot of players that have left West Ham over the last few years that we should have kept. Kiate being one of them. I think Diarming was turning into a good player, but
he wanted out the door, though, didn't he, Diarming?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he was. I think with Tompkins, I know you said about the money too good to turn down, but I feel like we actually lost by selling him. We lost probably more than we made, because I think if we would have kept him, right, we wouldn't have then had to play Antonio right back, because Tompkins was doing a really good job there, and I think we would have picked more points up across the season.
I think Jenkinson at that time was on form, and they just thought he was going to be, and then he got injured. That was the bad thing, because I remember selling Tompkins, and I think it was a game or 2 games later that Jenkinson picked up that injury, so Antonio had to play sort of right back.
Saved on a testimonial.
As you say, it's on a testimonial.
True.
Right. On average, have more desire to play for the club. Yeah, I agree. They resonate more with fans, I think. Ray Chapman says, you say Joe Carmichael Carrick, but think about it. Carrick was born and bred in Newcastle. Cole was born and bred in South London. They say there wasn't West Ham born and bred. Noble was. Yeah, I think that's important. But I do also think it's like where you grow up footballing wise. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, for me, Noble is a West Ham fan.
Yeah, he's a fan.
Necessarily like you have to be a fan of the club, but knowing the club and knowing the staff and all of that sort of thing before you come in, and then the British sort of, how do I say this without sounding like fucking racist? But the British will take to like they will sort of relate to the fans more, you know.
Yeah.
They will feel that a little bit more than.
I think that's the same for any player who goes to another league in another country. Like I think a lot of English players have struggled in like La Liga and stuff for similar reasons of adapting to the culture and adapting to things. I think that's sometimes where you get some problems there. I think so. I think it's like a two-way street.
Bonds wasn't from West Ham. No, he played for Cheltenham, mate. Yeah, that's
Bonds was South London boy. I just, as I said, like. I mean, for me, Mark Noble is Mr. West Ham. You know, he's West Ham through and through. You know, he lived 2 streets away from where we used to live growing up. You know, and he used to walk to the ground and things like that. And I just like I've got not a bad word to say against Mark Noble. He's just, as I said, he's a dying breed, and he's like, for me, he's in my probably top 5 all-time greatest West Ham players. For me,
I really don't think we'll ever see another player stay at the club the length of time he's been there. I really can't see it. In the way football's going at the moment, unless there's a dramatic change in the culture of football completely, you know, Noble will be the last player we see come through the youth ranks and finish his career at the club.
Tony, who's the greatest ever? I've got to make this the last 10 minutes, boys, because they're calling me downstairs. Who's the greatest ever player? For me, it's Maradona for winning the World Cups and titles with average sides, Argentina and Napoli.
Yeah, I don't think you can argue Maradona was unreal, you know. But for me, I don't know. It's not Pele for me. It's a difficult one because obviously I grew up in a generation of sort of like, you know, you look at Ronaldo's and Messi's and their stat-wise is unreal. No one comes close to him. But as ability, yeah, Maradona. George Best for me was, you know, you watch the old videos of George Best, unreal. Gaza, Paul Gascoigne. I'm not saying he's the greatest of all time, but yeah, I mean, Maradona's definitely up there.
I think Tone asked this question. I think he asked this question on my live stream yesterday, I think, but we didn't get to answer it. But this one, I've said before about this greatest ever player thing that comes up. Who's the greatest of all time? And this, in my opinion, I don't think there can ever be such a thing as the greatest of all time because there's no player can ever play through all time, right? But you can't put Pele in today's football and haven't played to see what he's like today. And you can't put Ronaldo or Messi in Pele's time. So there's no because you know football it's changed and evolved. So there's no real way to compare players from different eras.
If you put them sort of players in today's game, that like you look at someone. Let's say George Best, for instance, right? If you put him in today's game, it'd be the best in the world, better than Messi, because George Best was doing what Messi was doing on the shit pitches with a shit football back in the old days. But stat-wise, Messi would probably be the greatest at the moment. I know you're saying of all time because in like 20, 50 years' time, there's probably going to be someone better than Messi. Pele's record is, I mean, let's be honest, I think some of them, like he's adding goals on from like Sunday League football when he was a kid. You know, some of them don't even go down on in the record books, and it's true. He says he scores 1,000 odd goals or whatever, but some of them ain't accounted for. So it's difficult. It's difficult.
I don't think there is an answer for this.
No,
there is. It's opinion. It's all about opinion, and you know, I would say the greatest ever player is Bobby Moore, but because I'm biased, I'm you know, of course he was.
it's not only that. You look at attacking players get more recognition in football than
I think so.
And that's the thing. You can't sit there and say Pele was better than Moore, or Best was better than. Do you know what I mean? You can't sit there and say this player's better than that player, because you've got players in different positions. Can't.
I think
because Maradona was a unique, superb player. Pele was brilliant. Ronaldo and Messi are brilliant football players. They're great to watch, but football is a completely different game. To defenders are different styles to attackers. You can't sit there and say, well, he's the greatest player because he goes and scores. He scored 1,000 goals, whatever. But then when you look at the importance that people like Moore, had in the England side and in our side and things like that, defending's a harder job than attacking, especially now.
I mean, people, you look at today's game, you probably look at people will probably say, if Bobby Moore's, but Van Dijk would probably be better than Bobby Moore. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It's different eras and it's game. But obviously, I don't think Van Dijk's better than Bobby. For me, Bobby Moore's the greatest defender that's ever lived. But I think you're right in saying there's no real sort of answer to this. It is opinions, but if you go by stats and what you've won, then Messi hasn't won a World Cup, but he's won everything else in football. It's just goals, assists, Messi, and
right. Well, I'll let you pick one more because I'm gonna do this one and I'm gonna shoot.
Right, okay, so we've got to look through the old. We're going to have to let you know because we ain't got the power to put them on the screen.
Power.
Well, I might have. Yeah, there's a lot of just comments to what we're saying. Like, Matt Powell says,
can we do a quiz next week? Do you want to do a quiz next week?
Let's do a quiz. Let's do a quiz.
We get,
another forfeit, doesn't it?
do you want me to be the quiz master?
Yeah, if you want, mate, yeah.
I'll do the questions.
Matt Powell, did you get a free copy of Football Manager 2020 after you featured in the trailer? No, I fucking didn't. I paid £45 for that shit.
Have you played it much?
Once. John Rambo says Messi performed only in one club, and when Iniesta and Xavi were playing there, Xavi and Iniesta won a World Cup. Messi could not do it with Argentina.
But
I mean,
Spain at that time were the best in the world. Argentina, for me, I mean, Messi's only done it with one club because he's loyal and he'll only ever stay at Barcelona. Messi could go anywhere in the world.
But that's my thing with the Ronaldo scenario. For me, Ronaldo's more the complete player. And Ronaldo's won the European Championships with an average Portugal side. Messi's had great world-class players with the Argentina side and never gone on to win anything.
Have you been taking part in a West Ham quiz on their YouTube channel? I can't say I have, mate, to be honest.
Didn't know about it.
Noah said, lads, can you get all the West Ham YouTube influencers to do a massive show in the future? We'll try and do that on one of the first back.
Yeah, we'll have a big party.
We'll have a big party and we'll invite a load of people to it. Noah, Ammers chat, free Ammers, etc. Yeah, sure, 100%. Lee Davis says, I'd say Mark Noble, best defensive midfielder in history, but that's very biased. Losing forfeit decided by you guys, but must be shown on the air. Look, listen, I've still got to do a forfeit.
Yeah.
Get that back. Will the FIFA matches return one day before the real games like before?
I've got to buy the games. I've got to buy the bloody the FIFA game actually as it goes. I ain't got it, so I'd have to buy it. Yeah, I've heard it. So that's the thing. It's people have been like trashing it so much. It's really made me apprehensive to spend my money on it. Like,
and somebody also said earlier, why don't we vlog anymore? I think that was Philip Dimicator. Why don't we vlog the games anymore? We do so much around a match day, and we're going to be adding more to a match day. I think a vlog is living your life through a lens.
Yeah, it
became very, very difficult.
There's something about the vlogging for me doing it. It's just I find it hard to do. I can't you know what I mean? Like I feel very self-aware and self-conscious and being I can't do this at football for me. And I think it's fine if you do it. But
I'm happy when we're filming in the pubs and on the ground, outside the ground. But for me, sitting there during a game and worrying about getting your phone out and recording your reaction when you're missing out on the emotion of celebrating the goal. So that's why we sort of stopped doing it. But
we have done it because
we did enjoy it.
I think the last one we done was the City one when we won at City. And that's the thing. I was more worried about doing my phone and all of that sort of thing than like enjoying it. And I thought, I'm missing out.
Remember that one we done when we went Man United away and we was driving up there and Graham took his shirt off to put one of our T-shirts on.
Yeah.
I undone the window and it was freezing cold.
Yeah.
And he had his tits out and he couldn't get his T-shirt on.
Yeah.
I'd be open to doing a vlog, but like, you know, like going up to the away game, what we've done there and what we do on the way to away game and then some of the stuff after, but not really in the ground.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the vlogs when we done them because I remember the one from Tottenham at home was a great one. Man City away when we got Trevor Sinclair, and Bishop and Steve Lomas on it, you know, and there was me and Nicky driving up there and it was, I remember Nicky telling the Angel in the North to fuck off. We drove past it. We've had some laughs doing it, but I just think it's the bit during the game. I don't like it when people are more worried about talking into a camera, and that's just not me. I'm there to watch a game and talk about it after.
Nick says, any of you been in the gulag? I'm in the gulag more than I like, Nick.
What's the gulag?
Oh, you don't want to know about the gulag. Why was my video deleted last season on your channel versus Spurs last season 3-1? No, Dale wasn't here.
No, it might have been an audio issue or something because I remember the Tottenham game we had audio issues, didn't we? So
yeah, that'd be the only reason because we don't really delete our videos, do we? We don't really delete them unless someone asks it to be deleted. Can you take my video down, please?
Station. Keep my FIFA 13. I love it because we still play at the bowling. They should put it in the new games, man, as an unlockable.
Yeah, why don't they have that like Highbury, Upton Park? You know,
when I was looking forward to getting over from Belfast and bumping into Scott and Gray in the King Eddie. That's it, guys. I've got to go downstairs now because it's 9 o'clock and I've promised that I'll be downstairs to serve.
Missing the Queen's speech.
I've got a speech on.
Yeah, 9 o'clock it started.
Yeah. Recording it, I'll catch up with it in a minute.
I've got to get on the old dinner.
That's what I've done. There's that Captain Tom story, so I've recorded that one, so I'm going to sit and watch that one there as well.
Anything else before we go?
No, that's it, mate.
Yep. Stay safe, everyone.
Good night, and stay safe.
Thank you very much for joining us on this edition of West Ham Fan TV's Friday Night Pint. We'll be back next week with more Friday Night Pints. I'm trying to get some content up this week, so keep the eye on the YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed already. I see about 60% of you that watch these videos are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, but please leave a thumbs up and all that. That really helps us out, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. One thing left to say.
Come on,
Stay safe, stay at home. Happy VE.